Hello, I'm Scott Animation, and this is the Taiwan PC1. It's a Android computer I got off eBay for $19 in a bidding war, and I won. And it's not too bad. I'm going to show the ports on it in a little bit. Right now, I'm going to show what it can do on the screen, and the keyboard seems like it's pretty nice too. If you're going to use the AV out on the Taiwan PC1, then first you're going to have to hook it up to HDMI monitor, and then from there preset the composite to NTSC, because the PC1 is preset to PAL when you get it. So just letting you know. This is what you see when you first turn it on and it goes to the desktop. You have a bunch of Android apps. Some of these I installed myself, like that Basic, I wrote that, and Evil Space Zombies, that's another game I wrote. But it's also got, well, it doesn't have that, but it's got like a free Basic with it, a free Pascal language with it. I didn't download that. I did download the Basic. It's not too bad, actually. It's got a retro app in it that you can download retro machines, and gotta use the keyboard at this point. But like for instance, here's Commodore 128 emulator running on it. The keyboard doesn't seem like it recognizes all the keys for some reason. Like the Q, W, A, S, Z, X. For some reason those don't work. It probably has something to do with key mapping. I do not know. Alright, so taking this thing apart, the bezel, after you take a ton of screws out the back of it, the bezel just lifts up. And the flex cable on the keyboard's long enough to where you can basically get out of the way without detaching it. If I was to scavenge parts off this to use for other projects, which was primarily my goal, well, it was secondary. My primary goal I'll get to in just a minute. But the keyboard with the USB controller is interesting. There's a little USB cable coming from the keyboard controller board over to a USB input on the Taiwan main board here, which is really small. I have taken this out and looked all over, and I did not see an internal micro SD card. So if one was to reprogram this, I would have to look that up more. Looking on the board, I'd looked at it earlier. I could have sworn that I came across some debugging pins. So if you jump those, then you could probably reprogram this thing, but I'm not sure. Or you could brick it. I may test that later on, depending upon how useful it is for my primary. Well, I got it for 19 bucks, so it's like I'd kind of like to have a computer. I mean, I'll get in that in a minute anyway. So if I was going to scan which parts off this, I don't know about the main board, because if you can't reprogram it, you know, it's not very useful. But I do like this SD card extension cable. It goes from a micro USB card to a standard size USB, SD card reader. So that's cool. So I didn't know these existed. You know, I just never seen one. I'm sure they've always existed, but so now I will be able to look up, and because I wouldn't mind having a couple of these extra for other things, but now I'm gonna get to what I had in mind when I seen this on eBay and had wanted to bid on. I got it primarily to run Scotty Animation Basic on, which I like to use from time to time, and so that was my primary purpose in getting it, because I like to, like to be able to just turn a computer on and get in the basic like the old 1980s 8-bit machines. Alright, so looking at the ports on this thing, you've got an SD card reader on the right side, and you've got AV out, and you got HDMI out, Ethernet port in, USB port, and your power connector port. And the keyboard isn't too bad, actually. I mean, it's your modern keyboard, you know, in the case. I mean, it's, you know, it's not built with the most quality materials, but it's not too bad, actually. It's not too bad. Well, that's a look at the T1 PC1, and I'll talk to you later. For more content, you can visit www.scottyanimations.com. There's a lot more stuff on there. Well, I will have to say, it is kind of hard to play Evil Space Zombies on this with just a mouse. You gotta be really quick. Oh no. Oh no, he followed me. Oh crap. Oh. Why didn't I make the controls better?